Hey, curious minds, get ready for mind-blowing facts about animals, science and more. From surprising talents to bizarre discoveries, this video is packed with fun you won't believe. Sit back, relax and let's dive into the unexpected.
One of the most surprising facts about pineapples is just how long they take to grow, typically around 2 years from planting to harvest. Unlike many fruits that develop quickly each season, pineapples are slow-growing tropical plants that require patience and consistent care. The process starts with planting the crown, the spiky top of the fruit, which then develops into a rosette of long, sword-like leaves. Over the next year or so, the plant gradually matures until it finally produces a single flower stalk from its center, which eventually forms the pineapple fruit. The flower itself is actually a cluster of up to 200 individual flowers, each producing a tiny fruit. These mini-fruits fuse together to create the familiar pineapple we know. Once the fruit starts forming, it still takes several more months to ripen fully. This slow process is part of why pineapples are more expensive and considered a special treat in many parts of the world. And after all that effort, each pineapple plant produces only one fruit at a time, though it may produce a few more from side shoots later. Pineapples thrive in warm, sunny climates and are commonly grown in countries like Costa Rica, the Philippines, Thailand, and Hawaii. Pineapples need well-drained soil and regular watering, but too much water can lead to root rot. Because they're not grown from seeds and take so long to mature, pineapple farming requires careful long-term planning and space. This long growth cycle also adds to their symbolic meaning in many cultures. Pineapples have traditionally represented hospitality, wealth, and patience. And given how long they take to grow, that symbolism makes a lot of sense. So the next time you enjoy a slice of pineapple, it's worth remembering the 2 years of sunshine, water, and time it took to get to your plate.
It might sound strange today, but in the 1830s, ketchup was actually sold as medicine in the United States. Unlike the tomato-based condiment we know and love today, early ketchup recipes were quite different and evolved over time. From fermented fish sauces in ancient Asia to mushroom ketchups in 18th century Europe. But it was American physician Dr. John Cook Bennett who popularized the idea of using tomato-based ketchup for its supposed medicinal properties. Dr. Bennett claimed that tomatoes could treat a wide range of ailments, including diarrhea, indigestion, jaundice, and rheumatism. He published articles promoting the health benefits of tomatoes, helping to shift public perception at a time when many believed tomatoes were actually poisonous due to their relation to the deadly nightshade plant. Bennett eventually collaborated with manufacturers to produce tomato pills, which were essentially condensed forms of ketchup marketed as a cure-all remedy. This marketing strategy caught on quickly, and various entrepreneurs jumped on the bandwagon, selling ketchup-based pills and syrups as over-the-counter medicine. However, the trend didn't last long. By the late 1840s, medical professionals began to debunk these health claims, and ketchup's status as a medicine faded. It wasn't until later in the 19th century that ketchup transformed into the sweet and tangy condiment we recognize today, thanks to companies like Heinz, which introduced mass production and added sugar and vinegar to improve flavor and shelf life. The idea of ketchup as medicine is a quirky chapter in the history of both food and medicine, reflecting how much science and consumer understanding has evolved. It also highlights the role of marketing in shaping public beliefs, even when the product in question is something as unexpected as a burger topping.
One of the simple yet fascinating facts about apples is that they float in water, a quality that's made them a staple in party games like bobbing for apples. But the reason behind this fun fact is grounded in science. About 25% of an apple's volume is made up of air. This high air content reduces the fruit's overall density, making it less dense than water, which causes it to float. Apples have a spongy, porous structure, especially in the flesh just beneath the skin. This structure includes numerous tiny air pockets that are invisible to the naked eye, but make a big difference when it comes to buoyancy. When you drop an apple into water, these trapped air pockets act like tiny flotation devices, helping the apple remain on the surface instead of sinking. This air content doesn't just affect whether an apple floats, it also plays a role in texture and crunchiness. Apples with more air tend to feel crisper and lighter when you bite into them. As apples age, they begin to lose moisture and air, which is why they can become mealy or soft over time. So, in a way, an apple's ability to float can even give you a little clue about its freshness. Beyond party tricks and texture, the air in apples has a practical impact in agriculture and food processing too. It helps with storage and shipping, since apples with good structure are less likely to bruise or be damaged. And for cider makers and food scientists, understanding the apple's cellular makeup, including its air content, is essential for quality control. So next time you see an apple bobbing in a tub of water, you're really seeing a clever combination of nature and physics at work.
Most people think of carrots as bright orange, but what many don't know is that carrots were originally purple, along with red, yellow, and even white varieties. The earliest domesticated carrots, believed to have originated around 3,000 years ago in Central Asia, especially in regions of modern-day Iran and Afghanistan, were often deep purple or yellow. These ancient varieties were cultivated more for their medicinal properties and seeds than as a common food crop. The purple pigment in these early carrots came from anthocyanins, a group of powerful antioxidants found in many deeply coloured fruits and vegetables. These early carrots were sometimes more bitter and fibrous compared to the modern orange versions we're familiar with today. Over time, as carrots were cultivated across different regions and climates, farmers began selecting for different traits, such as sweeter taste, smoother texture, and a more appealing appearance. The orange carrot, as we know it today, is believed to have been developed in the 17th century in the Netherlands. Dutch growers, possibly as a tribute to the House of Orange, the ruling royal family, selectively bred yellow and white carrot varieties to produce the bright orange root. These new orange carrots were not only more aesthetically appealing, but also contained higher levels of beta-carotene, a compound the body converts into vitamin A, which is essential for vision and immune function. Today, purple carrots are making a comeback as a nutritional superfood, thanks to their high levels of anthocyanins and novelty appeal. You can now find a rainbow of carrots in stores and farmers markets, including purple, red, yellow and white, as chefs and consumers rediscover the diverse history of this humble root vegetable. So while orange carrots may dominate supermarket shelves, their vibrant ancestors continue to remind us of the rich and colourful story behind one of the world's most beloved vegetables.
Avocados are often called green gold for their rich flavour, creamy texture and booming popularity. But did you know that a single avocado tree can produce up to 500 avocados a year? That's a remarkable yield, especially considering that many trees average around 150 to 200 fruits annually, depending on their age, variety and growing conditions. With the right care, mature trees, especially those grown in optimal climates, can reach that impressive 500 fruit benchmark. Avocado trees, particularly the Hass variety, are known for their alternating fruiting cycles, also called biennial bearing or alternate bearing. This means they may produce a large crop one year, followed by a smaller yield the next. The number of avocados a tree produces is influenced by factors such as sunlight, water, soil health, pruning practices, and even pollination. Since avocados have a somewhat unusual flowering system with male and female phases that occur at different times of day, growers often plant multiple varieties together to boost cross-pollination and fruit production. It's also worth noting that avocado trees take several years to mature and bear fruit. If grown from seed, they can take up to 10 years to produce. But those propagated from grafted trees, common in commercial orchards, typically bear fruit in 3 to 5 years. Once they mature, though, they can produce fruit for decades, some even over 50 years, with the right climate and care. Regions with warm temperatures and well-drained soil, like parts of California, Mexico, Peru and Israel, are ideal for large-scale avocado farming. With demand for avocados continuing to grow worldwide due to their health benefits, rich in healthy fats, fiber, and vitamins, the productivity of avocado trees has become increasingly important. One well-cared-for tree with a 500 avocado yield can be a powerhouse of nutrition and economic value, making avocados not just delicious, but also a fascinating example of how a single tree can offer bountiful and sustainable harvests year after year.
The iconic pink colour of bubblegum wasn't a carefully thought-out branding decision. It happened completely by accident. When Walter Diemer, an accountant for the Fleer Chewing Gum Company, invented the first successful bubble gum in 1928. He only had pink dye available in the lab. So he used what he had, and the rest is sticky, sugary history. That first batch of bubblegum became a hit, and ever since then, pink has been associated with bubblegum, setting a standard that continues to this day. Before Diemer's discovery, many had tried to create a gum recipe that was stretchy enough to blow bubbles without being too sticky. But most failed. Diemer experimented during his off hours and finally hit upon the perfect formula that was both less sticky and more elastic, allowing people to blow bubbles with ease. His creation was marketed as Double Bubble, and it quickly became a sensation, thanks in part to its fun, eye-catching pink hue. The reason only pink dye was available at the time likely comes down to cost and availability. In the 1920s, pink colouring was one of the most common and inexpensive food dyes, and it just happened to be on hand when Diemer made his breakthrough. The unexpected success of that first batch meant there was no reason to change the colour. People now associated bubblegum with pink, and companies leaned into the trend. Today, although bubblegum comes in a wide variety of colours and flavours, the classic pink bubblegum still reigns supreme in terms of nostalgia and tradition. From Diemer's accidental colour choice grew an entire genre of candy branding, and pink remains a visual cue that instantly evokes the fun and light-hearted experience of chewing gum and blowing bubbles. It's a great example of how a happy accident can turn into a lasting cultural icon.
One of the most beloved frozen treats in the world, the Popsicle, was actually invented by accident by an 11-year-old boy named Frank Epperson in 1905. Living in Oakland, California, young Frank was experimenting with powdered soda mix and water, something many kids loved at the time. He stirred the mixture with a wooden stick, but then left it outside overnight, forgetting it on the porch. That night, temperatures dropped below freezing, and by morning, Frank discovered that the mixture had frozen solid, with the stick still inside. Excited by his accidental creation, Frank began making more of them, and initially called them Epsicles, a blend of his last name and icicle. His friends and family loved them, and as he grew older, he continued to make and sell them at events and amusement parks. Eventually, Frank's children encouraged him to change the name to something catchier and more fun, which is how Popsicle came to be, a playful nod to Pop's icicle. In 1923, Epperson officially patented his invention and began mass-producing Popsicles through a partnership with the Joe Low Company in New York. The treat quickly caught on across the country, especially during the hot summer months and the Great Depression, when inexpensive snacks like Popsicles were in high demand. Originally sold in just a few flavors, the Popsicle brand eventually expanded to dozens of varieties and became a staple of childhood joy. Today, the Popsicle is a symbol of summertime and nostalgia, but its origins are a great reminder of how creativity, curiosity, and a little bit of luck can lead to something timeless. From a forgotten soda mix to a global treat, Frank Epperson's story shows that even childhood accidents can make a big mark on the world. Sometimes all it takes is a cold night and a wooden stick.
Despite their name, peanuts are not actually nuts. They're legumes, a category of plants that includes beans, lentils, and peas. This common misconception arises because peanuts look and taste like true nuts, such as almonds, walnuts, and cashews, and they're often grouped with them in culinary use. But botanically speaking, the peanut plant belongs to the Fabaceae family, which is the same family as beans and peas. One of the key differences lies in how peanuts grow. Unlike tree nuts, which grow on trees, peanuts grow underground. After the peanut plant flowers, the fertilized flower stalk bends down and pushes into the soil, where the peanut pod matures beneath the surface. This is a signature trait of legumes, which typically produce their seeds in pods. True nuts, like acorns or chestnuts, develop from a single ovary and don't split open to release their seed, while peanut pods do split open and contain multiple seeds. Peanuts also share other characteristics with legumes. They are high in protein, enrich the soil with nitrogen through a symbiotic relationship with bacteria, and are a key part of crop rotation in sustainable farming. Their nutritional profile, rich in healthy fats, fiber and protein, makes them similar to tree nuts in terms of health benefits, which contributes to the confusion. Understanding that peanuts are legumes isn't just trivia, it has practical implications, especially for people with food allergies. Some individuals allergic to peanuts can safely eat tree nuts, while others might be allergic to both, so distinguishing between them is important. Still, in the kitchen and in snack aisles, peanuts continue to be treated like nuts due to their flavour, texture and versatility, making them one of the most misunderstood members of the plant kingdom.
Broccoli, despite its natural appearance, is actually a man-made vegetable that was carefully cultivated through selective breeding. It was developed from wild cabbage, a plant species native to the Mediterranean region. Ancient farmers in Italy began manipulating the plant over 2,000 years ago, choosing specific traits over generations to create a new vegetable with large flowering heads and thick stalks, the broccoli we know today. Wild cabbage is an incredibly versatile plant, and through selective breeding it has given rise to a variety of other common vegetables, including kale, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and kohlrabi. The differences among these vegetables come from focusing on different parts of the plant. For example, cabbage was bred for its leaves, Brussels sprouts for its buds, and broccoli for its flowering head and stem. The name broccoli comes from the Italian word broccolo, meaning the flowering crest of a cabbage. Broccoli didn't gain widespread popularity outside of Italy until much later. It was introduced to the United States by Italian immigrants in the 19th and early 20th centuries, and it took time to catch on in American kitchens. However, once its nutritional benefits, including high levels of vitamin C, fiber, calcium, and powerful antioxidants like sulforaphane, became widely recognized, broccoli became a staple in healthy diets around the world. Today, broccoli is celebrated not only for its health benefits, but also as a testament to human ingenuity in agriculture. It's a great example of how humans have shaped the food we eat through careful observation, selection, and cultivation. So while it may look like just another green vegetable, broccoli carries with it a long history of farming innovation and botanical transformation.
The tradition of carving jack-o'-lanterns has its roots in ancient Celtic folklore, specifically during the festival of Samhain, which marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. People believed that on the night of Samhain, spirits and fairies could cross into the human world, and to protect themselves, they carved scary faces into turnips or other root vegetables, and placed them in windows or doorways to frighten away any wandering evil spirits. These eerie carvings were often illuminated with glowing coals or candles, creating a ghostly effect. The association of the jack-o'-lantern with turnips is also linked to the old Irish legend of Stingy Jack, a man who was so cunning and deceitful that he tricked the devil multiple times. When Jack died, he was denied entry to both heaven and hell, and was doomed to wander the earth with only a burning coal placed inside a carved-out turnip to light his way. People began carving their own Jack's lanterns to ward off his spirit, and the practice became a staple of Halloween traditions in Ireland and Scotland. When Irish immigrants brought their customs to North America in the 19th century, they found that pumpkins, native to the continent, were far more abundant and easier to hollow out than the tough and fibrous turnips. Pumpkins quickly replaced turnips in the Halloween tradition and gave rise to the jack-o'-lanterns we know and love today, often carved with expressive or scary faces and displayed with a candle inside during the Halloween season. The size, shape, and vibrant color of pumpkins made them perfect for this festive purpose. While pumpkins are now the universal symbol of Halloween, the history of the jack-o'-lantern is deeply rooted in the cultural use of turnips as protective charms. It's a fascinating example of how traditions evolve and adapt over time and geography. Turnips may no longer sit in our windows in October, but they hold a special place in the eerie, inventive history of Halloween and remind us that even the simplest vegetables can be part of something magical.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed these incredible facts. If you found them fascinating, there's so much more to discover. Stay tuned for our next video, where we uncover even more mind-blowing facts about the world around you. You won't believe what's next.